Ladies and gentlemen.
Where's the microphone?
First of all, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Brad Vogt. I'm the controller for this account. I also have a CAM license. Here's your new property manager, Richard Sayre. David Friedman, who you may have all...
Microphone.
Yeah, here. No, there you are.
My name is Brad Vogt. I'm the controller for this account. I'm also a CAM. Richard Sayre is here. He is your new property manager.
Turn around.
That's me. Good evening.
David Friedman, who many of you probably knew, got sick and had an operation, and he's doing better. For those of you who are wondering, he had an open heart surgery about a week ago, and is now recovering, and he'll be fine. So, and Sochil is here as well, of our staff. Sure. So, thank you very much. Let me conclude the special meeting of the membership by a quorum was established. You had 341 proxies. Of the 341 proxies, 330 voted to waive the reserves, 11 voted to not waive reserves. As I mentioned before, you needed 275 to establish a quorum. This goes on now, and you have a regular board meeting at which they will vote on your budget and accept these, they'll ratify the vote on waiving of reserves. Two of your board members are going to be on the phone, Hayden and Marcio. So John is going to chair that meeting.
That's a fun one.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. And we will now start our regular meeting, our budget meeting. So to establish a quorum, I would ask the secretary to please call the roll. We are reaching Marcia right now. Hayden, can you hear me? Okay, come on.
But we can't hear him.
Let me put you on speaker. Can you speak into the microphone? Say something. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. You're gonna have to speak up a little bit because my phone is not that loud. Okay? Let me call you. Okay, so Carl, could you call the roll, Carl?
Yes. Marcio?
He's here.
Doug?
Doug is not here.
John?
Here.
Hayden?
Hayden. Okay.
Richard?
Not here.
Wendy?
Not here.
Carl?
Here. Good.
Cool.
We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is to ratify the vote on waiving of the reserves. So I will make a motion or I'll ask for a motion from Carl to ratify the vote to waive the reserves for the 2015 budget year. Would you like to make that motion? Okay. And Marcio is seconding the motion. Did you make the motion? Would you like to say?
Yes.
Okay. So the motion was made by Carl and seconded by Marcio. Now, Carl, please call the roll on that motion.
Okay. Discussion. Marcio?
Where is Marcio?
At home. At his home.
Marcio votes yes.
Okay.
We're supposed to be able to hear them.
Doug?
I'm sorry. Marcio, could you repeat your vote because it wasn't heard by the audience? Marcio? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I vote yes.
He voted yes.
Doug? Absent. John?
No, just call it. Yes.
Hayden?
Hayden. That's a yes.
Richard? Absent. Wendy? Carl? Yes.
Just call the
Okay. Discuss it.
Okay. So we've approved the waiving of the reserves. Basically what that means is that there will be a modest maintenance reduction in International Village in 2015 for, I believe, the first time in International Village history. So let's have a round of applause for all the people who voted yes on waiving reserves. Thank you. And we now will move to the vote on the approval of the proposed budget. Before we do that, I'd like our controller, Brad Vogt, to give us a little presentation about the budget, and then we'll make a motion on that budget, and then we'll hear from the board, and then anybody from the membership who would like to speak about that. So, Brad, could you get us started on that?
The budget that you were sent included the reserve numbers, so they, now that you've voted against them, will be taken out. There was a $906,000 amount that you would have had to pay to fully fund your reserves. Looking at your expenses for next year, we had increased a few items, decreased a few items. We increased your legal expenses slightly. Another $10,000. We put in $80,000 to help pay your loan, and I'll talk about that a little more in a bit. And we put $120,000 in to renovate 3 of the buildings, to do the carpeting and repaint the walls. The reason there's money in there to pay part of the loan back is that as you collect your special assessment money, it's decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. There are only about 500 people still paying on the special assessment of the 832 of your unit owners, because of people who have paid in the past. Of those 500 and some, there's probably 120 who aren't paying. So you're only getting about 380 people are continuing to pay on the special assessment. We're billing at about 35,000 a month and collecting 25,000 a month. Your new loan that is going into place, you're going to have to pay $30,000 in principal and about $6,000 in interest. $36,000 per month versus the $25,000 you're collecting. In the long term, those people who are delinquent, we will collect the money back from, and it will go back into your coffers. It is a matter of cash flow. You have to pay the loan, and it has to come from operating. In essence, we are, as John said, even with those 2 items in there, we have still managed to have a reduction in the maintenance. The other big issue on the table, of course, is your collections. You may or may not know you have nearly over $1 million worth of receivables. And Alliance had been the company that was doing the collections for you. That agreement is being terminated, and you're going to have a new collection attorney who will be collecting for you. The fees will go on to the unit owner's accounts. They will not come back to the association. There's been somewhat of a lag in those collections due to the relationship with Alliance. We're expecting to turn that around next year, and is a big part of this budget. In next year's budget, we've set aside $250,000 for people who aren't going to pay, which is a pretty big number. That's almost 10% of the unit owners who are not going to pay next year. That's part of you're paying for those people. We are going to take a very aggressive approach to collecting from those people. I mean, I'll say it. I don't think you've been getting the best deal in the past. I don't know if your collections. We manage other communities in this area. They are doing better than you are in collections. The economy is coming back. These units should be turned over, and the bank should either take them and pay you, or we should get them in. You should foreclose and rent them out, which was a question I heard from the audience. How can we get $80,000 of rental income? You currently own 10 units, and they're rented.
Own or have title to them?
You have title. You don't have the deed. You have title.
Correct.
You own it. It's called ownership, but you don't have the deed. And you're renting it for approximately $1,000 a month on average, which is $12,000 a year times 10 units is $120,000. There are more units to foreclose upon.
Most of the apartments.
Excuse me, let me finish. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Rent for $1,000.
We'll take
I'm
questions
sorry.
from the membership a little bit
I
later.
appreciate that you haven't interrupted me so far. Thank you. There's going to be more foreclosures coming up, and there'll be more rented out. So I think the 80,000 is somewhat of a conservative figure for next year in terms of rental income. So, all that being said, if you have any questions, go ahead.
Well, actually, before the membership has questions,
Board?
yeah, let's. I'm going to make a motion to approve the proposed 2015 budget as written, as presented to the membership and to the board. And I'll need a second on that.
A second.
Minus the 900,000.
Carl seconded. And now, is there any discussion on the board before we open it up to the membership? Carl, Marcy, or Dove, do any of you want have any comments? I'm sorry, excuse me, Hayden. Hayden or Marcio, any comments on the budget?
Great job, everybody that put their time into it. It took a lot of effort to be able to save as much as it could to lower the meters. So, thank you very much. That's all you really got down there. So, thank you all for that.
Okay, Hayden, any comments on the budget?
No.
Okay, you said no comment.
Could you repeat what we didn't hear?
They had no comments.
Marcio said that basically he was very happy with what we were able to do as a board and working with the membership to get this budget through. So my only comments are basically to back up what our controller said is, yeah, this was a lot of hard work and that went into this effort to essentially bring a maintenance reduction for the first time to the membership. We would have liked to have obviously done more, but with the challenges that we faced and the fact that we felt as a board that it was very important for the majority of the owners who still have not had their buildings renovated to do that as a priority. The maintenance reduction would have been considerably higher if not for that expense, but we felt it was a very necessary expense to make in this year. And it is a one-year expense, so we're hopeful that next year we'll be able to do a bigger maintenance reduction, you know, knock on wood. So with that, I will open it up to the membership for any questions. We have a question here.
Mr. Richard first. Mark, go ahead.
I'm Elise Pouliot from Bordeaux. In your motion to adopt the budget, you did mention that you will be taking out the 906,000, which appears to be an income. So if you could add it in your motion, because it's not as is that the budget will be adopted.
Brad, could you comment on
The first thing they did was waive the reserves.
Yes.
So that's what they did. The first
Right.
motion that did was waiving the reserves.
Right.
So that eliminated that line item.
So it's eliminated.
It's eliminated.
It doesn't have to be in his motion, because his motion could be as is.
The first motion
Okay,
that was
I got it.
passed
Yeah.
was to eliminate that line item, and that is gone.
Oh, I didn't see it as a motion yet. I thought you just mentioned it.
Oh, no, that was the first action that was taken by the board was to ratify what happened over here,
Okay.
which was to waive the reserves, which took out the 900,000.
Okay.
Okay, so is everybody clear on that? There is no reserves in this budget, but I'd like Brad to comment a little bit on why we felt that we didn't need to fund reserves this year as far as our financial position.
It's a good question because typically we come here and say you should have reserves. So
Yeah.
most communities we encourage to have reserves. This community has a history of not having reserves, and therefore, because of that and the wishes of the board.
And there is one other matter, and that is the fact that the last couple of years, last year, we had a large special assessment, and funds still remain from that assessment. So we do have that to draw on in case of any, things that come up, and we aren't spending everything that we have. That's just what I wanted to make clear. We're not spending everything we have. We do have some money that is still sitting in that special assessment account. How much is in that special assessment account right now?
Well, I think more interesting is what's sitting in your fund balance.
Mm-hmm.
You have in your operating account, you have about $500,000, which our recommendation is generally to have a 2 months worth of cash sitting around because of contingencies. Your annual revenue is about $3 million. 2 months, that divided by 12 is about 250, so you have that much on hand to carry you through. And particularly when you don't have any reserves to back up your situation, you should more strongly stress having some money in your surplus.
And the assessment, what did you say, the assessment? The question that he asked was, how much in the assessment fund?
The special assessment from 2012 to 13.
How much?
Oh, the old one.
Yes.
There's about 60,000 remaining from that previous assessment that was put in place really to fund future projects. So there's still 60,000 in that fund. Go ahead, Mark.
May we talk about the special assessment Wilma
Sure.
and find out what is the status of the loan at this point in time? Number one,
Okay.
I got 4, 5, and 6 to follow.
Okay. The loan will close on Friday.
What are the terms?
It's a 18-month loan with a 6-month extension, so 2-year, essentially. And I think the interest rate is the same as was, but the interest rate stayed the same, and I think it was 4.5. I don't remember
Interest
exactly.
rate was 3.1% when we left it in May.
The interest rate will stay the same. Marcio?
Hold on, Brad. Marcio. Marcio, go ahead. I believe that is right. It's 4% for the first 18, and then it goes up to 5.
There you go.
And
It's 4. I don't remember whatever the rate was. It's 4 now, then it goes up to 5 for the last 6
I
weeks.
would like to find out, when I left this august institution in May, we were collecting $35,000 from the unit owners, approximately, per month. At that point in time, we were paying $20,000 per month principal to Wells Fargo, and we were forgiven for our swap interest, and we're only paying $7,000 approximately interest to Wells Fargo at that point in time, leaving us an overage of approximately $7,000 per month, which we calculated on every month and paid off every 3 months or so. What happened in the term of 6 months to suddenly drastically reduce that? And you can't tell me it's because we've been paying the thing down. That's ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm doing the books right now, and that's what it is. This may be your recall from then, but you haven't seen them since that time. But you can, I hear you. I heard what you said.
At that
But that
point-
that may be true then, and this is what's true now. If you'd like to come and look at it, you can come and look at it. But
Can you tell me what the
there's some
principal is of the Wells Fargo loan at this point in time?
about $1.9 million.
It was $1.9 million in May, and we paid off at least $20,000 a month, which is $120,000, and we had $100,000 in escrow to pay it down. So it should be down at least
I hear what you're saying, Mark, but you know,
I hear what you're saying, and you're telling me you do it, you're cooking the books or doing the books, and that's the way the numbers
I
are now.
don't particularly like to be accused
I'm not
of cooking
accused-
the books.
I'm not
That is out of line.
Well,
That's out of line.
it
Clearly,
is out of
that's out of
line, and I
line.
apologize to you. But I'm telling you the way things were in May.
I welcome you to come and look at it. That may be a better
May I
solution.
come
than-
and down and look at
Absolutely,
it?
sure.
Because-
Unit owners are, any of you, can come. The books are to be available for your review. Come and look at it.
That's-
I'd appreciate that rather than this, I know this from the past, and I know that, because anybody can say with that.
I would too.
The numbers are here to
And
look at.
finally, number
Open book.
Finally, number
Not
three.
cooking any books.
Fine.
Yeah.
Finally, number 3.
Mark, I think you're past the time.
John, well, let him go ahead.
Generally speaking, we do limit it to 3 minutes. But hold on. Excuse me. There's a lot of other people here that may have questions. Okay, so,
Let it talk
okay,
about
Marvin, are you saying you're yielding your time to Mark?
Rather than that, just let him talk. I mean, go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
I'm happy.
No, if I can come down and see you,
Sure.
that's fine.
Happily.
What I'd like to know, the last thing I'd like to know is what happened to the approximately $100,000+ that we had in escrow to pay down that loan. You just said it was $1.9 million. I'm
Right.
telling you, it should be $1.6 million at least today.
I hear you.
Because,
I can hear you very well, but
And I-
without, it should be, it isn't though, is it? I will show you. I mean, I'll say, rather than you sitting there and telling me what you know, I'll show you.
Hold
Is
on,
that fine? Is that
Brad,
all right?
hold on. Marcio wanted to make a comment on this. Hold on. Say it again.
It's hiding.
What are you saying? Okay, just go ahead and I'll just repeat what you said. Tell me.
We're supposed to be able to hear the board member.
Or to see him.
It wasn't 1.9 in May. All right, go ahead. So apparently the number is
What?
not. Well,
it was $1,956,000.
that's not.
what it was on
That's
May
not the number
27th.
we saw.
Well, that's what the number was.
No.
And I'm telling you that's what the number was, and if you tell me it wasn't, then you're fooling around.
Again, please. I mean, why do you-
We
No,
have
I
other-
won't, please,
okay.
God damn it.
Okay,
I won't.
Elwood, he's out of
I see.
control. I mean, let's
I
get
don't
this
quite get
question
this
under control.
behavior myself.
Anyway,
I see it all the time. I don't
we
understand.
have other members who have
Yes, sir.
questions.
Marvin, go
On
ahead.
the renegotiated loan, let's say the interest rate for argument's sake is 4%. On what, how many years are the payments based, the amortization is based on?
There's 18 months at 4 and at 4,
No. For example, in the last.
5 years.
It's a 5-year amortization?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Hold on a second. I think Marcio wants to say something. Hold on. The thing, Marcio, is that it's very hard for some reason on this phone to pick you up on a mic. Can you try on your mic? I can't get him on his mic.
All right, Marcio, go ahead.
Okay, but I'm trying to explain to Mark that an institution that controls its principal own Wells Fargo Bank. Nobody else, and nobody can change that. So whatever Wells Fargo has in record that is the principal own, it is. So what are you talking about? That makes no sense. Whatever the principal owns, Wells Fargo has record, it is. Okay, and yes, Wells Fargo does come back, and they agree to extend the loan for total 2 years. And they're very happy to make all the payments, and they do
Understand a word.
Why is he not here?
The earpiece is on.
Why is he here?
Where is he?
Okay.
We can't understand him.
The loudspeaker's on the other side.
Marcio, we really can't hear you, but I know you're repeating the same thing.
Anyway,
Basically, he's
hear
repeating the
from-
same thing, that we have an obligation to show you the records.
Yeah.
We have an obligation. We'll show you the records. Happy to do so. Come and see
Let's
me.
hear from more members. Anybody else have any questions? Yes.
It's very nice that the people in the community is getting a...
Microphone.
Give her a microphone.
One second.
Yes, you do. We can't hear you.
Very nice that we're all getting a reduction in our maintenance. Would it not behoove the community, instead of giving us a reduction, to take that money saved and do another building instead of just 3? There are 6 that need to be done.
We will do all 6. It's not our intention to do only 3.
When? And then you'll be charging us for those buildings. You're giving us
You're
$2.
saying 3 next year. What 3 and why only 3?
No, we plan to do all the buildings.
But he said 3.
Karen,
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna go down the line. Screening fees, income.
The screening fees income item